Hello, and welcome to another Let's Play. Despite what that title screen art might have you think, this game actually does not have much focus on butts, funnily enough, because it is a first-person shooter. This is the Citadel, a first-person shooter independent in the boomer shooter subgenre by Doi Kuramori, and it is... well, it's certainly something. Let's begin our quest, and I feel it's better to just get the details of the game out of the way by actually showing it off. We're going to start from the beginning. All your progress will be erased. Are you sure? I am positive. This message comes up even if you are starting a first playthrough, and there is nothing to erase. Alright, there we go. The Citadel. Press W to begin your holy mission. And, starting our holy mission out, we of course get our movement controls, but we are also faced with a choice. We have three paths we could possibly take here. We could go to the left, which is just a straight path. We could go to the right, which has a gap we need to jump. Or, if we get a little running start here and do a little ha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, we can take this center path here. We want to just back up a little bit, get this running start, and there we go. The momentum we get from our double jump there, as well as our sprint, allows us to get to the center path, and, walls became a little bit more visceral once we got up here, I'm noticing. You have chosen the way of the zealot. The starting area here is actually a diegetic choice for selecting your difficulty. The left path puts you on the easy setting, the path of faith. The right path puts you on the path of the devotion, the normal difficulty. And the path we're taking is the path of the zealot, the game's hard difficulty. Get some suitably intimidating backgrounds. Also, what you can see here is that when you look down, you can see your character. Kind of impressive for a mostly sprite-based game, and a lot of the graphics in this game are pretty strict 2D. What are those up there? Hey. Well now, looks like our character has put on their helmet, which gives us our organic HUD for the game. Now, you can actually take off the helmet by pressing the backspace key. However, there is no real reason to do this. This is not a way to play the game HUDless. You cannot draw your weapon if you don't have your helmet on, so it's just kind of a funny option you have. I suppose if you want to play a pure pacifist run, which seems to be against the spirit of this kind of game, but if you wanted to, well, that's one way you could go about it and make it a little bit trickier for yourself. Looks like we've got a trusty axe here. Free 7 guardian angels and destroy the sleeping god. This axe is our first weapon, the Forgiver. It forgives people for the sin of breathing, absolving of them of that, as well as their lives, and we can just do a quick swing with it. It's not anything too special, and it's not something I'm really going to be using too much, because right after it, we get our first real weapon in slot 2, the Meta Magnum. This gun holds 7 bullets, and it is a pretty standard pistol. Has quite a bit of kick to it, but if you crouch, you can mitigate that quite a bit. This game also has iron sight aiming for some of its guns, but I don't usually use that too often. Hip firing is usually plenty fine in most cases in this game. Only a few weapons do I decide to actually aim down the sights for. Dropping off the edge there. We get our title screen. And we are immediately dropped into a tutorial area. We happen to drop by some enemies there. You might have heard that little bit of radio static. That means at least one of them was alerted to our presence. Now before... oh, there they come, right over the hill. Before we get into the actual gameplay, I do just want to check out a couple things here. One thing to note under the graphic preferences is that there is a toggle for gore. We're going to set that to on, but some of you in the audience may find the gore in this game to be a little... shall we say, excessive. So I would just like it to be clear that if you think this game is interesting, but what you're about to see just seems a little tasteless, you can turn that off. I also just want to draw attention to the sprint option here. I have that set to toggle. By default, you sprint by holding the left shift, but I prefer to have it toggled because that synergizes well with an ability that we can do while crouching. Let me see here. You can also enable the possibility for your guns to jam, which I'm going to leave off, so we'll just stick with the settings we got there. I'm going to go to the difficulty settings here. The difficulty settings, as you can see, are set to the Zealot setting because we went down the center path, but there are some additional modular settings you can set here. Enemies' endurance, like you'd expect, increases the amount of damage enemies can take. Generally, the hard setting means you'll have to hit enemies with twice as much gunfire to take them down. Aggressiveness determines how fast enemies attack, and hearing range determines how far away enemies actually hear your gunfire. On the easy setting, enemies completely ignore your gunfire. They only zero in on you via sight. This is the one setting I'm actually going to set to hard to make things a little bit more interesting. Otherwise, the game is balanced around these settings being on easy. Just for the default Zealot settings, though, player's endurance obviously means our health. The harder this setting is, the less damage we can take before dying. Supplies amount is a bit weird, and I'm not sure what the full extent of the effects it has are. The one thing it does do is it makes the supply store points cost more money to use, and I believe it increases the rate your food gauge decreases, as well as limits the amount of items that enemies drop, as well as removing supplies from certain parts of the game. I'm not too clear on the full effects of the supplies difficulty, but I do know a couple of the things that it definitely affects. With all that said, let's get into it, and let's get back to the game proper. Let's deal with these enemies that are coming towards us. As you can see, they are not too difficult to deal with, and they explode into ludicrous gibs. Be careful, though, because if they get a chance to squeeze some shots off, they can take us out pretty quickly. Now, the Magnum is a single bullet loading weapon. We can only, it does not use any magazines. We can only load bullets into it individually. There is also something a little important to note about this. Let me just, for the sake of demonstration, empty out my gun here. When the Meta Magnum is empty, a bullet for it must be chambered, and then you can load it from the bottom afterwards. That means that if it runs out of bullets, it will take twice as long to reload this gun, so be mindful of how many bullets you're firing, and try to reload in between everything that you kill with it, and never try to fire more than 6 shots at once, though obviously, when it's panic time, you might not be able to avoid that. Anyways, we've got these enemies' attention. We're just going to crouch to increase the or rather decrease our recoil. As you can see, because the enemies can hear me on the hard hearing setting, they actually approached me. If I didn't have the hard setting for the hearing there, most of those enemies would have just stayed in their position in order to or rather, they would have just waited for us to approach. That one was far away enough that she didn't hear the gunfire, so she actually just held place and allowed me to just approach and take her out. If I had the aggressiveness setting set to a higher difficulty, there would be a lot less downtime for me to ready my shot there and hit her. She would start firing on me almost immediately. We took a little bit of damage early on, so that introduces us to our main healing mechanic, blood packs. Press the Z key to use a blood pack, and it brings your HP up. But it didn't heal us to full. Strange. Well, there are other things that we need to keep in mind, so I will go over that when it becomes relevant. The game giving us the formal blood bag tutorial there. Let's just take out that enemy. Headshots do deal more damage, so try to hit the enemy in the head. Also, hitting the enemy stuns them and resets their attacks, so that is another way to avoid taking damage yourself. Just keep up the aggression on the enemies, and they won't be able to deal too much to you. We can also interact with things with the F key. We want to open this door here, and we want to start moving quickly, because there are some turrets up there that were firing at us, or right over there. We can crouch to avoid them, as well as steady our aim. Over this way, oh boy, that looks pretty serious. There is a tank there. Let's sprint and get the heck out of here. Slide right into the end of the level. You can slide by pressing the crouch key while you are in a sprint. I like to have the sprint set to toggle to make an easier use of that move. Obviously, sliding retains your forward momentum from a sprint, as well as immediately putting you into a crouching state so that you can dodge any incoming projectiles. Pretty handy to know. Over here, we've got a bookshelf in our first intermission area, which just describes all of the supplies we can find here. Blood bags, we've already seen, restores our health. An O2 canister restores your stamina. I don't really care for these for that purposes, because we don't really get into too many sustained sprints in this game, but O2 canisters will come in handy later. Food restores your max health and your stamina. You may notice the green gauge there. I call that our food gauge. The purpose of the food gauge is that the number in the food gauge, your other gauges cannot exceed that. If they do exceed it, they will quickly go back down to the value of the food gauge. So you do periodically need to eat in order to keep your health up. Now, where could we possibly get food? Hey, who's this? Welcome, Martyr. We summoned you because you are the best and only asset I can rely on. We expect you to take control of this situation. This fellow here is Lysander. You already confronted some of your sisters and brethren, I presume. They are enlightened. Put it simply, they are under control of the sleeping god. Destroy the sleeping god. Make them free. I presume we're going to have to make them free of this little thing we called life along the way. Such as things. Take these supplies. They would aid you during your quest. We expect great things from you. The translation of this game isn't exactly stellar, but it's mostly comprehensible. Walk in the light, Martyr. And that is our official title. We are the Martyr. Who are you? You are the Martyr he talked about? I never managed to get here without his help. He said you were here to save us. I found some goods that should come in handy. Unfortunately, most of them are broken, but maybe I can make them functional if you spare me some gold. If you find me, maybe I could sell some goods to you. This is our main shop vendor for the game, Tycho. He's not the only shop vendor, but he does have the lion's share of purchasable items, weapons, and various other goods in this game. So keep him in mind and keep your eyes peeled for him, because he won't always appear in obvious locations, but he will be a big help to us throughout the game. With that taken care of, we can now get on to the first level proper. If you're playing a New Game Plus file, which this game does have New Game Plus, you'll skip that little tutorial level, start at this intermission, and immediately get into this first level right here. Act 1, Between Heaven and Earth. Every level gets a Doom-esque title for it, and this one is the Entryway. We get some Magnum bullets to start us out here, and we immediately have our major enemy type for most of the game. We'll be seeing a lot of these guys throughout the game, the Acolytes. Those shotgun troopers that we encountered in the tutorial level, they actually appear pretty sporadically for a good chunk of the game. It won't be until later where they become super common. These Acolytes, on the other hand, they attack by throwing bottles at us, and they are very common. One nice thing about these Acolytes is that they drop blood bonuses. Because I have the hearing on, all of the Acolytes are flooding out of the rooms that they are occupying, which saves me the trouble of tracking them down. Note that their bottle projectiles can be shot out of the air, so once we have a weapon that we can spam shots with more often, we can easily shut down any offense they mount. But be careful, because they do like to surround you and prevent you from moving, and then when they have you in melee range, they can bludgeon you to death. What do we got here? Press G to cock a grenade. Release G to throw. Grenades will explode after 4 ticks. So yes, we've got our grenades here. Grenades aren't super useful for their intended purpose. You can cook them to toss them out and destroy some enemies through walls, but I like them mostly for the other thing that we can do with them. Here, these little floating pieces are gold. These, well, golden ones are worth 10. The smaller silver pieces that you might have saw pop out of the Acolytes, those are worth 1. And let's see, there are no supplies here. If you are playing on a lower supply setting, you'll usually find some blood bags here, but since we're on the hard setting, you will not. That's one of those changes that I noticed, and generally, any loose supplies that you find on lower difficulties, they have a tendency to be missing on the higher supply setting, so something to keep in mind. We'll get a chance to see the other major effect the supply setting has, actually really close right now. Over here, we take out this guy, and because the hearing is on, again, normally these enemies would not come out to face us, but because they can actually hear us on the hearing setting, they did decide to come out, and unfortunately I did take a hit there, but that is a chance to use some food to restore our food gauge. As you can see, eating food also restores a little bit of your health. 5 units, so pretty good thing there. Over there, we've got an exploding barrel. Does what you'd expect. We've also got our next major weapon, the auto rifle, and this is going to be a reliable standby. Of course, as the name implies, it is an automatic rifle, hello, that fires a consistent steady stream so long as you hold the left click. It's not my preferred weapon for distance fighting, but at mid-range it's perfect, and it has one other function of it that really helps us out later on. We've got someone who was just minding their own business, so I decided to ruin their day. And over here, we've got our first supply vendor in the wall. Now, on the easy supply setting, these will give you the pictured supply for 50 gold. On normal, it's 100, and on hard, it is 150. These are prohibitively expensive right now, so I wouldn't recommend using them, but later on, we'll have the money to utilize them. Over here, we get the tutorial for alternative reloading. Of course, you can reload any weapon by pressing the R key, or you can quick load it by pressing the T key. However, or double pressing the R key, of course. However, if you quick load a weapon, if it has any ammo left in the mag, that will be discarded. So keep that in mind. Obviously, though, if the magazine is already empty, there is no reason to not quick load it. So again, be mindful of how much ammo is left in the gun when you're loading. Now, I said the grenades served another function that is something that I prefer to do with them. Let's show off the intended use of them first. We will cook up this grenade, toss it, and of course it just immediately bounced, but that enemy walked into it anyway. Not super effective, though. It took a while for them to walk into it. The other thing that we can do with it is that the Meta Magnum has an alt fire, and this enemy is just walking into their doom there. They kind of deserve that, honestly. But you can load grenades onto the Meta Magnum and fire them directly at enemies where they will explode on contact. Much more helpful than just throwing grenades out, and it's honestly a very powerful thing to do with your grenade supply. It's the secondary thing I like to do with my grenade supply. We'll see the main thing that I like to do with my grenade supply when we get further into the game. But it is an important option to keep in mind, a very powerful attacking option for the Meta Magnum, one of the stronger single-shot options we actually have in the game. These enemies are just readily marching into their doom. Be careful of these Grenadier acolytes. Their lower halves, when shot, will begin to tick down in an explosion. If you're standing too close, that can hurt quite a bit. The sound of the explosion attracted more enemies to us. Of course, of course. We've got a ton of acolytes there, or Grenadier acolytes there. We can just blow them up to have them take out their kin, and that is the first level completed. We'll just slide into the exit. I enjoy sliding around. Now, into the second level, this is where things get a little bit more complicated, and we see our primary threat for most of the game. In level 2, Smoke and Powder. Let's just crouch and take things nice and slow here, get a top off for our auto rifle here, and get some extra grenades. As you can tell from the thudding music here, things are not exactly looking good for us. We've got some light fixtures here. Let's just reload our gun and shoot these out so that we can see over those rooftops there, because as you can see, we've got some rifle troopers occupying the rooftops. Rifle troopers are our primary threat for the game, as well as your primary source of auto rifle ammo. They will, once they clock in on you, they will start firing automatic bursts at you. And if those automatic bursts hit you with a full burst on Zealot mode, that is death for you. So we want to take this a little slow here, because there are a ton of rifle troopers on the rooftops, and we will not get very far with these guys shooting at us. And I do actually want to take them out here, because we've actually got our first secret right at the start of this level. Let's just take out this enemy, see if anything else is clocked us, and that one up there has. One annoying thing about the Acolyte's bottles is that there is... Ooh, boy. Things are getting a little dicey here. One annoying thing about the Acolyte's bottles is that your bullets do not pierce through them, so they can actually shield the Acolytes from damage. We've got a ton of enemies coming out there. I'm almost tempted to queue up a grenade on the Meta Magnum, but I was able to take them out with minimal issue. Let's see if we can't get that one. There we go. These blood bonuses here restore 1 HP when you pick them up, and Acolytes are very prone to dropping blood bonuses, so they are a helpful thing to keep an eye out for when fighting tons of them. Boy, I'm not used to having the hearing setting on. I've only played through the game on, I played through on all 3 of the difficulties, but this is the first time I'm toying around with the additional difficulty settings. Anyways, like I was saying, we've got a secret here, so what we want to do is we want to get up here, we want to hold the sprint key and just jump over here, and this little secret area has a new ammo type for us and a new gun for us. This is the Whale Gun, an anti-material rifle with an awesome name. I just love the sound of that. But this is our standard sniper rifle for the game, and it pretty much kills everything that it hits in one shot, as you expect of first-person shooter sniper rifles, regardless of a headshot or not, although there are some hardier enemies that might require that headshot. Anyways, like you'd expect, it has a scope, which allows us to more easily do some distance shooting. Do keep in mind, though, that there is actual bullet travel time in this game. There are, for the most part, no hit-scan weapons. There are a handful of hit-scan-based secondary fires, but most weapons, by default, actually do have projectile travel. The Whale Gun does not hold very many bullets, so you gotta be mindful of that. It's also pretty good at taking out those Grenadiers there. And you do want to be mindful of the position of the whale gun relative to the ledges you're firing over. If you're right there, I just want to demonstrate that, you can have the barrel be pointing into the ledge, which will eat your shot if you're not careful. Alright, so I could actually skip a good chunk of the level by going over to that bridge there, but I'm actually going to go through the intended route, more or less. Let's take out this guy right there, and there's that one. And we're probably going to have more enemies heading our way. I'm actually going to bust out the... Whoa, 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 hey, hey, hey! Was not paying... Oh god, oh god! That was a good example of how quickly things can go wrong for you on Zealot mode. And also a good example of how some of the terrain in this game is destructible, so be very mindful of that when you're looking for places to take cover. Generally, though, the destructible environments are a little bit more visually distinct. As I was saying, we're actually going to bust out the Meta Magnum here, because we want to use its alt fire for an upcoming enemy. Those enemies seem to have taken their position back on the bridge, so I'm going to have that fire raining down on me for a little bit, but it shouldn't be too big a deal. One thing to note about the alt fire for the Meta Magnum is that it does consume regular bullets. You can't even load a grenade onto it if you don't have a bullet in the chamber. There's a very particular enemy I'm waiting for to get this. There we go, the Flame Trooper. These guys are very resistant to conventional firearms. You want to use powerful alt fires to deal with them. If they close in on you, they will unleash with their flamethrowers, which can torch you in no time flat. Let's have a little bit of vittles there to restore our statistics. Hey, an energy cell. We're not actually supposed to have that at this point, so I'll hold off on explaining the purpose of that. Oop, we've got another, oh god, ooh, oh god. That was close. I got a little too eager there to make progress. One thing we can do to even the odds a little bit is lean out here. We've got to load the chamber there. Let's take out these grenadiers. And yeah, those guys are still in position. But yes, we can lean out in order to get a quick peek around the corner, as well as get a better view of the enemies we can fight, and have some cover when dealing with them. These are turret troopers over here. Rifle troopers that have manned turrets in the ground. They can actually drop a unique type of ammo. Well, not unique, but a different type of ammo from what these guys typically drop. I'm actually going to lure these enemies. Okay, they're coming from the right. Pay attention to your mini-map there so you have a better idea of where enemies are approaching from. Unfortunately, I let my mag run dry there, but it wasn't too big a deal. Let's see. I can see them moving around. Unfortunately, the mini-map does not display verticality very well, so you have to be careful with that. Here comes that one. We want to make sure we don't get pincered. Looks like they're mostly located around the center, so we shouldn't have to worry too badly about that. This is actually one of the few times I want to just toss out a grenade. Okay, it only got one of them. That's not a big deal, though. As long as we have the full mag when these guys come around the corner, they are pretty easy to take out. We're about halfway through this level. This is the bridge from earlier. We could have skipped all that if I just decided to jump onto this, though it would be a little bit risky with hearing enabled for the enemies, because they'd all be collapsing on my position as I fight things around here. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. That was a, let's not get caught out there. Yeesh. Ludicrous Gibbs, ludicrous Gibbs. But we've got a couple of mechanical turrets up here, so we just want to poke out from outside their aggro range and take them out easy peasy. That one actually dropped an item for us, an energy cell. Don't think that other one did, though. We're just about to get an explanation on what these energy cells are for. Let's grab all the gold along the way here. There's some more high-value gold pieces down here as well, so may as well come down and get these, if I can drop down. Come on. No! No! Oh, boy. That was humiliating. Oh, well, there's more gold pieces over here. Why don't we get the tutorial on energy cells here? You can use the scroll wheel, the middle mouse button, to alt-fire certain weapons. We've already seen that with the Meta Magnum, but the rifle has its own alt-fire that instead uses energy cells over grenades, and it's quite a potent one, so let's open this up here and show off that alt-fire. It fires a laser beam from the base of the auto rifle. This laser beam absolutely just shreds through humanoid enemies, but is not very effective against machines like those plasma casting turrets that we took out earlier. It also has much less recoil than the standard fire of the auto rifle, and is a hit scan weapon instead of a projectile weapon, so you don't have to worry about travel time when using it. Alright, we got that over there. This is actually another good opportunity to bust out our whale gun. We actually have this a little bit sooner than we're supposed to. You don't normally get this weapon until Act 2, and it is just absolutely fantastic for taking out enemies from long distances. Unfortunately, it's colliding with that wall there, so I've got to poke out a little bit more. See that one, get the headshot on them, and there we go. Want to be careful and take it a little slowly. As we tool up and get better weapons in our arsenal, we can afford to be a little less cautious than how I'm being right now, but we definitely don't want to risk things. I almost got myself killed there by forgetting to load. Oh! Yeah, you can die super fast here, so be careful. Another thing we have to deal with is that these turrets can also hear us, so we have to be mindful of any fights we've been getting into when we approach them, because they'll already be clocked in on us and be trying to take us out as we pop out. Fortunately, they fire in fairly linear patterns, so it's pretty easy to avoid them. With all that taken care of, we can now reap the benefits of these energy cells. Aside from fueling the laser of the auto rifle, the energy cells also have a pretty good secondary purpose. Let's just crouch down here and take these out. Good stuff, good stuff. And grab the spoils from the rest of the enemies that we've defeated. Okay. Now, at this point, there are some additional supplies we can get on some secondary platforms here. They won't always be here if your difficulty setting is set to hard for supplies, though. I'm going to pass on them because I don't want to risk grabbing them and dying, because we have not actually set any checkpoints. At this point, if we die, we are sent back to the start of the level. Alright, the next level, the hallway. Kind of a misleading name, because this is more like a labyrinth of doors. Over here, we've got another new weapon, the blunderbuss. This is, of course, our shotgun. Absolute decimation to anybody we hit at close range with it, but also a pretty decent mid-range weapon. Has quite the spread on it, though, so as you get further and further from the enemy, it becomes a little less reliable. We're just going to immediately pop in here and set in a little kill zone in this door here. Anybody who approaches is immediately going to be blunderbussed. As you can see, they are just absolutely exploding. We've got more people heading into our distance. This is a level that varies pretty drastically with the hearing setting on. Enemies are just going to be constantly approaching us as we pop out and hit more enemies and just get more and more attention with all the gunfire that's going. Alright. Before we get to lost in the sauce here, let's look at this next tutorial, the pattern buffer. An activated pattern buffer works as a checkpoint. You will be brought back to the pattern buffer when you die if you have an extra life. This game has a live system. If you have an extra life, you can activate a pattern buffer within a level and be sent back to it. If you run out of lives, you will instead be sent back to the start of the level. So be mindful of how many extra lives you have if you activate a pattern buffer. Whoop. Sometimes the enemies juke around my shotgun shots. Anyways, this is also a level that puts a better focus on getting key cards. We had one level that required key cards earlier, but it was only one. This level has several key cards for us to collect. Oh, whoa, hey, I see you there. The blunderbuss will also occasionally multi-kill for us. Slight bit of piercing on these weapons. Well, actually not piercing, but since it fires multiple projectiles, occasionally it'll double tap people for you. Alright, take those out. We've got more people heading in our position, more acolytes. Another rifle trooper here. They're no match for us. And you can just individually load shells into the blunder. Oh god, sorry, I somehow got an alt tab there. That was weird. I didn't hit alt at all. Speaking of, alt actually does have a function in this game. You can do a little kick. It doesn't deal very much damage, but if an enemy is in your face, the kick will send them flying. Let's just blow that grenadier up. Clear that room out, nice and easy, get tons of grenades. Grenadiers, as you'd expect, have a pretty decent odd of dropping a grenade pickup for you, even on the hard supply difficulty, so they're always worth your time to kill. Let's eat some food here to make sure that we're not too low on maximum HP and stamina. Though very rarely will you ever worry about running out of stamina in this game. I don't like dealing with explosive barrels if they just happen to... Okay, that's a green lock door. I don't like having explosive barrels around. I don't like dealing with the random chance of explosion if I happen to nick them with a shot. Got more enemies coming this way. Oh boy. The absolute carnage. Ooh! I was a little late on shooting that guy. Fortunately, they only managed to squeeze off a round before they got the shot on me. There we've got another flamethrower trooper, and I'm going to show you the preferred way to deal with these guys. These enemies are extremely vulnerable to the laser fire from the auto rifle. Very good idea to use that on them. Grenadier just clearing out tons of enemies for us, and oh, we're actually full on grenades. That'll actually help us out a little bit in a upcoming room here. I'm going to clear some of these grenades out of our inventory so we don't have to worry about not being able to pick up any more of them. Just take out these grenadiers over here, get even more rocket grenades. Good stuff, good stuff. But the reason I'd like to use some grenades coming up here... that was just the sound of me. I heard the sound of my crouching and got confused. Let's use these rockets to just blow up all these enemies here. Not have to worry about dealing with them in any fancy way. And looks like I got everything in there, so we can just switch over to the auto rifle, take out that last one. By the way, you can enlarge the map here, and this is not a pause screen. You can actually still move around with this map screen here, so keep that in mind. And let's grab the green keycard. Now, any green door that we come across, we can open no problem. Okay, get our supplies there. And let's continue on to the first green door. I believe we want to hit this one up here. Even if it's just supplies, hey, it's more supplies. Speaking of supplies, always remember to pick up any loose grenades. We have more that we can pick up, so I will top myself off when I get the opportunity. Let's just open up this door here. Just immediately take those out. Got another flame trooper, take them out, and we get a grenade to immediately replace what we used, plus some more shot shells. Nothing important in that room, but I just wanted to check it out just to make sure. Let's check our map here, and we can rotate it a little bit to get a better view of where the door we want to take might be. I'm going in the slightly wrong way. One thing to note is that the initial execution of your slide, it actually is a little bit faster than a sprint, so something cool you can do there. You can also slide into rooms to open them. Okay, not that one. But some doors can be slid into open, and you can enter them in a crouch for increased aim as well as a reduced hitbox when you engage enemies in combat. We're actually pretty close to the end of this level with the yellow key card in tow. Little momentum trick you can do here. Do a slide into a jump. Take out this enemy. Got another one coming our way here. Always keep your eyes on the mini-map to see if anybody is closing in. And this is one of the ways that the hearing setting can actually make the game slightly easier, because it allows you to set these little kill boxes where enemies just run face first into your gunfire. Of course, when they're already aggroed to position, it can be a little frustrating when you open a door. But if you want to be absolutely cautious, you can chuck a grenade at a door and use the explosion to kill an enemy through the door. Now, with that red keycard, we're just about ready to finish up this level. This door leads to nothing. We don't need to open this. This door, on the other hand, leads to an enemy, and this switch right here opens up the exit to the level. Except not really. There is an alternate exit to this level here. Hit this panel right here, and you'll find a path filled with gold. But if you come over this way, you'll also find Tycho. And this is one of the earlier instances you can find Tycho. If we didn't find him now, we wouldn't find him until after we get done with the boss level for this act, so this is pretty helpful. And this is the reason I wanted to collect those grenades earlier. Grenades sell for a ton of money, so whenever I'm maxed out on grenades, I like to sell half my grenade stock there to get a little stipend from Tycho there. And there are a few things we can buy here. First off, we can buy a mod for our Meta Magnum, the tube extension. This increases the ammo capacity to 13, and also makes it so that when you load a shell into it, you load 2 shells. We can also buy most primary weapons in the game from Tycho here, but I'll hold off on finding them in their intended locations. Some of them, like the chain gun, are a little too pricey for me right now. We can also buy scout armor, which fills up this little gauge next to our health bar to give us a little bit of protection against damage here. Our armor will be consumed before our health can be consumed. He also sells food bonuses at 10 gold, which restore 1 food, and life bonuses, which do the same. Those have been the things that we pick up from the acolytes we've been killing. He also sells ammo, which comes in the basic pickup amount you get for the weapon normally. This can be of variable usefulness. For instance, chain gun ammo comes in pickups of 50, while whale gun ammo comes in pickups of only 5, so it can be a little pricey to top off your whale gun supply. Oh, I may as well get it just since we're here. The Swift Sing for the Forgiver. This one's a little unintuitive. This gives you an alt fire for the Forgiver, which I guess is a little bit faster than your main fire, but the Forgiver is still just kind of an emergency weapon you should never be using. Now, over here here is another flag panel. These flag panels often hide secret areas, and this leads to an alternate exit to the level that takes us to a bonus level. Always be mindful of what you see on the map. The map will display the past bonus levels, even if it doesn't display the precise way to get to them. In this bonus level, we have the area Get Psyched, and this one could be a little bit tricky. What I'm going to do here, actually, let's load up a Meta Magnum, and let's just get into here, let all these enemies approach us. Oh boy, this is what I was talking about with the kill box. That was just absolute carnage. Feel kind of bad for them, honestly, but only a little, only a little. Let's pop open this door here. Got a grenadier here. That does not work out for the ally they had in the room with them, but every grenade we get is essentially another 150 gold, assuming I'm already at the cap. And again, I only really like to keep about 10 grenades in tow. That's about the most I could ever need. You probably noticed that I got winged by a bullet there. But because I had the armor, the screen didn't flash, and instead the damage went to the armor gauge. These rifle troopers also have a chance to drop armor shards, which restores a very small amount of your armor gauge. Not anything that's too helpful, but it is a little bit of extra help to you along the way. Looks like we gotta get another green key card here. Now, I know these bonus levels are based on levels from other popular shooters, but I only recognize a couple of them, but they're from classics of the genre, obviously Doom and Wolfenstein, but also Marathon also gets a level that is an homage to it. Let's just immediately pop in a grenade shot in there. Line up some nice and easy headshots with the Meta Magnum. It's a nice tool for dealing with these really weak enemies. Here we get some loose food bonuses, which is actually pretty helpful to me at this point because I do not have any food left in my inventory. Supplies can run dry pretty quickly if you're using them all willy-nilly, so be mindful of your supplies on hand. Okay, let's oh no, my aim's all off there, oh dear. And I drained through all my energy cells. That's just, no bueno, no bueno. That's okay, though. It's not a big deal. One important thing to note about food bonuses, they don't actually restore your health. They just restore your upper limit for health. Still worth picking up here and there, but not going to actually recover any HP for you. There you saw that I picked up an armor fragment. If you look at my armor gauge, it didn't fill up at all from that. Alrighty. Oh hey, some shotgun troopers. Usually it's a while before we see these guys again, but since we're in a bonus level, they get a little cameo appearance. That one's trying to be cute and hang out there, but it was not really helped by the mini-map showing me that they were there. Here we get a huge refill for our auto rifle, or we would if the rifle troopers weren't dropping already so much rifle ammo for me. Over here, oh dear. Let's take that guy out. Did I even get him? No, I did not. Ah, God, come on, get him. Gonna have to use a blood bag here. Getting a little dicey. Okay, these guys are making it nice and easy for me. Oh dear. Alrighty. Take that one out. Only one of them actually noticed me. And we can just use our blunderbuss to finish off the rest of the jobbers here. What do we got? Nothing too scary. Always use your leans when you're not sure what you're dealing with. Of course, the enemy spawns for every level are the same, so you can actually memorize what is in a level and know what you have to worry about when you're reaching a specific point. Here we get an area with a ton of gold, very helpful for us, and we get a blood bag vendor. You know what? I will buy one, just because I have none. Now, one thing to note about the blunderbuss, I haven't had a chance to show this off, is that it also has an alt fire. If you press the middle mouse button, you can load a grenade as a slug round. The slug round is a concentrated single shot that condenses all the pellets into a single bullet and kills most anything that it hits in quite excessive detail, as you can see. It's not too useful, but it's a bit more helpful if you're playing on the increased enemy endurance settings, where you might want that much damage in a single shot for certain enemies, well, like the rifle troopers. Unfortunately, you cannot load multiple slugs into a weapon, so be mindful of that. Let's take a look at our map here. Alright, we're getting close to the end of this level. We do have to find the last key card before we can get out of here. I alerted one enemy to my presence there, just another shotgun trooper. As you can see, at long range, the blunderbuss is not too consistent at hitting the enemies. If only there was a way we could correct that. Oh well, we'll just have to deal. Here is our red key card, and that allows us to get to the exit of the level. What do we got in here? Hey, Tycho! So, long time no see, I guess. We'll sell off a couple more rocket grenades. Anything else I can buy from Tycho at this point? Tycho's inventory usually updates either at specific levels or when you conclude an act. Doesn't look like he has anything new for us, so we'll just ignore him for right now. Alright. And, of course, got some more shotgun guys there. If my pellets are true, that will take them out, and we will reach the end of the bonus level. Oh, hey. That guy almost caught me off guard. There we go. Ugh. At the end of the level here, hold on, I forgot something. Let me see here. There's a door that I missed somewhere. Hold on 1 second. Goofy me, I forgot this door right here. This leads us to our upgrade for this bonus level. Every bonus level has a upgrade for you. This is a permanent increase to our abilities, and this one doubles the healing effect of blood bonuses. Normally they only restore 1 HP, but now they restore 2, so very helpful upgrade for us, especially when we're fighting waves of acolytes. The blood bonuses we get from them will offset any damage that we take. You know what, let me go back to Tycho real quick, and let me just buy some more scout armor, since our armor just got absolutely shredded. Note that you cannot buy multiple scout armors to increase your armor gauge. Tycho will not sell you an armor type that you already have a matching armor value for, and by extension, he won't sell you an armor that's cheaper than an armor that you already have in effect, should you have purchased one from him. Alright, now every act of the Citadel is divided into a predictable structure. Each act has 4 regular levels, a bonus level, and then a boss level. We're on the 4th regular level now, which you continue on to the normal intended level after you clear a bonus level. Jesus Christus! I'm not used to these enemies just funneling into my gunfire here. It's honestly kind of savage. Hey! Oh yeah, oh baby. Here we go, the chain gun. This will be your preferred instrument of automatic destruction here. It is a surprisingly accurate automatic firing weapon that deals excellent damage, just absolutely shreds through everything that it hits. It is my preferred way for dealing with enemies quickly and cleanly. It also comes with 2 fire modes. It starts off in the fast mode, which I'm actually going to turn off. I prefer the slow firing mode. Slow firing mode halves the rate of fire on the gun, but makes it a lot more accurate at long distances, and is also, of course, just very good for conserving the ammo of it. Ammo for the chain gun is not commonly dropped or found. Let me take a food here. I actually kind of need it. It is only dropped by the turret troopers, and only rarely dropped by them at that. Otherwise, you only find it in designated supply drop points, or you can buy it from Tycho at 50 rounds per 200 gold spent. Air of the game is just explaining fire modes to us. Some weapons need to be upgraded before they can change their fire modes. You can change the fire mode with the V key, like the game said there. How much gold do I have? I might take another food. Yeah, I'll take another food and just top ourselves off. And we're low on chain gun ammo, so we'll switch over to All Reliable in the blunderbuss here. Alright, let's hit this switch right here. Big fan of the blunderbuss, always a fan of video game shotguns. A blood bag to help us out. This level is not too terribly long. I should probably actually switch the auto rifle. We're going to have a lot of things closing in on us here. These guys are trying to sneak around from the back, but luckily I was awares to their approach. There we go. Nothing too difficult to deal with there. But, as always, take it a little cleanly, a little carefully when you don't know what you're dealing with. Deal with that grenadier over there. And speaking of grenadiers, we're actually going to load up the metamagnum here. We've got a couple turret troopers. Like I said, these guys have chances to drop chain gun ammo. Not always, and pretty sporadically when you have the hard supply setting set, but often enough, often enough. Something to keep in mind. Over here we have our rocket launcher for the game, the SSM launcher, and that is because down below here, if I can see it, we've got a tank. We've also got a ton of troopers down there, and we want to switch over to our chain gun, actually, to deal with them before focusing on the tank. There we go. As you can see, even at long ranges, in slow mode, the chain gun is pretty reliable at taking out certain enemies. I could just drop down to take the tank head on, but I would die pretty quickly, so instead it's better to fight it from the high ground here. You can only have 1 rocket loaded into the SSM launcher at once. Oh god! that was not what I was intending to do. A bit of an impromptu rocket jump there. Yeah, it can sometimes collide with walls and cause you problems. The tank, as you'd expect, has its own Vulcan cannon, so be mindful of that. We are out of rocket ammo. So what I want to do now is the Metamagnum plus the grenade round, and this is not as powerful as the SSM launcher. Had I landed all 4 rockets, that would have taken the tank out, but we had to settle for doing some grenade shots on it. Little unclean, shall we say, but we manage. Take it slowly and carefully down here so you don't get caught out by anything. We've got a switch here that, actually, not sure what this affects, but there's no secrets that I know of in this level, so we can just get the heck out of here and get on to the boss encounter. Once again, slide into the level exit. Vectra, the Angel of Gluttony, will be our first boss. Now, I've seen plenty of loose interpretations of angels in video games before, and, the Citadel definitely has one of the looser interpretations I've seen, even by that standard. Let's get our chain gun out. Always make sure that your guns are loaded. Remember, when they are stowed, they are not loaded. That is something that causes me no end of misery every now and again. Here we've got Tycho, which is actually pretty helpful for us. We can sell off our maxed out grenade supply and get a few additional supplies to help us out here. Let's get another scout armor. Let's top off our food bonuses and our blood bonuses before getting into the battle. And let's mentally prepare ourselves, let's grab our grenades, and let's get into the Vectra battle. Oh, hey, energy cell there. I'll take it. Alrighty. Actually, oh god! Let's deal with these things before getting into the Vectra battle. I always forget about this. Little jump scare for you there. Woof. Almost got caught out completely by that. Alright, now for real, our first boss. This mother brain looking ass is Vectra. Now, you could just stay on the platform up there to battle Vectra, but you would quickly find yourself inundated with plasma shots, which would be no good for your sustained health. Fortunately, Vectra is not too complicated. We want to set our chain gun to fast mode and just lay out all the bullets against it. And you can easily beat this fight after destroying the turrets by just strafing backwards and forwards across the room, jumping as you need to clear the salvo of plasma shots. We've got one more belt for our chain gun here, so let's pop that sucker in. And Vectra should be pretty close to dead at this point. Yeah, right there. Not too difficult of a first boss fight. They lowball it for you. Also got some whale gun ammo if that's more your speed and you have access to the gun. As you'd expect, we get a ton of bullets from defeating the boss, and we get the power grip upgrade. This allows us to climb up onto ledges. It's a somewhat finicky ability, though. With that taken care of, we find ourselves in Intermission 1. Every act has an intermission between it that gives you a moment to catch your breath, and also catch up with Lysander. You know, Lysander, something about the way you look looks a little familiar to me. Can't quite say why, though. I'm glad to hear that you have already freed one of the angels. I knew you would make it. Maybe you could save us. Save us all, include us. I'm assuming Lysander means myself. However, you will never destroy the sleeping god with your conventional firearms. I am now restoring a relic which you will be in need of when you confront the sleeping god. We all appreciate your devotion. I hope these supplies will help you in your quest. Every intermission, you get a nice little cache of supplies. 3 blood bags, 3 foods, and 3 O2 canisters. Speaking of, we're full up on O2 canisters. Tycho has nothing new to say this time, but every time we meet them in an intermission now, they will be willing to barter with us, and this would likely be, after the boss fight, the first real opportunity you'd have to do any bartering with Tycho. We're going to sell off all our O2 canisters. As you probably noticed, I wasn't really using too much of my stamina throughout the levels, so these aren't too helpful to us right now. There is an upgrade later, though, that will make them of value to us. We can also refresh our scout armor here. Since we took some damage, we can now buy another one. We can also get the burst fire mod for our Metamagnum. We can get the red dot for the auto rifle, which improves the iron sight aiming, although I don't really care for it. Or we could get the 8x scope for our whale gun, which does exactly what it says on the tin. Gives us an 8 times magnification instead of the default 4 times magnification that it has, which you can toggle off if you prefer the 4x magnification. We'll buy that. And I don't really care about either of these mods, but I'm committed to buying every mod eventually. Let's get the Burst Fire mod for the Meta Magnum. Now that we have that, we can set it to burst with the V key, and it will fire 2 shots via burst fire. I don't really care for that. I like to keep it in the semi for more precise aiming, when I even bother to use the Meta Magnum at all, but that's just personal preference. This is where we'll be ending the video. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next video where we'll cover Act 2, Into the Citadel.
I don't dispute the doubts you've outlined, but it's my right to waste your time.